Say a few things about Carrie, say a few things about farming, how long it takes, and consistency. So I'm very thankful for Carrie to come in and teach this class today. I've been putting a little pressure on her of farming Peachtree Station and taking back the neighborhoods in this area, and we dominate the areas, and it starts off by geofarming or farming in general, and it takes time. So it's consistency of sending out the message. And then you can do some door knocking, whatever you want to do, or some phone calls, whatever that looks like. Make sure you're following the guidelines on the do not call list before you do that kind of stuff. Or you can set up, if April is coming, you can set up a neighborhood garage sale. Great idea, sponsor the neighborhood. Yeah, there you go, sure. Set up a garage sale, and then you're the neighborhood sponsor of that. So she's gonna give you a lot of great ideas. I just want to say thank you and thank all of you for being here. We do have a special guest. Matthew is here today, all the way from Tampa, Florida, in and off the plane just now, literally. And thank him for not trusting us. The funny part about that is, I'll tell you, that's how I met this guy in the back, named Scott Brown. I made him one out of the window and he thought I was a bum. They said, this is true, but I had long hair. And so the same thing I did to you. So thanks for trusting me and not calling me a bum.
I was not here.
I did too, but I had to grow up. So thank y'all, rock stars in here. Without further ado, it is right at the hour, and I want to give the mic to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie Foster, ALC. You're smart.
So welcome, thank you. So like Mike said, my name is Carrie Foster. I am on the ALC here, your Agent Leadership Council, and I get the privilege of speaking to y'all. This is not going to be a class format today. I hope not. I hope to have a lot of participation, and this is more of a mastermind. So I'm going to go through some some talking, and then also ask a lot of questions, and hopefully we all take something away from this class that we're going to implement in our farm or start a farm, right? So what is a farm? Does anybody know what a farm is, or a geo farm?
Particular area that you're targeting. In geo farm is a particular area you're farming, as opposed to like a, was it there's a target, yeah.
Why do you have to target market?
Maybe for the price point, maybe it's an area you live in, maybe it's.
Age of individuals, how many years have they grown?
Yep, so basically geo-farming or farming is a marketing strategy where you focus your efforts on a specific geo-farm or a neighborhood. The idea behind the farming is to become the go-to real estate agent, the agent that becomes top of mind in that area. So there was a study once, I love this, I've heard it once, you probably heard it a million times. I know I have in the last 10 years, where there was that marketing study that was done where they asked everyone in the neighborhood who was the agent of choice, and everyone had a different answer. And then a marketing company went through, they did an 8x8 every other week, postcard, phone calls. Now, mind it, they did make up this agent. This person never
Didn't exist.
They made up a name, they made up a company. They marketed this person like crazy. And at the end of it, they called all the residents back and saying, "Sonny, who would you consider being the person, the agent of choice?" And they all, it was last week, the majority of them said this fictitious person's name. So it does work, right? Geo-farming works, and you can have a big business, especially in a shifting market, off geo-farming from doing these activities. And you're not driving all over the world because it's a niche market. It's one that you can walk to majority of the homes. And you should. And you should. I get my test in. Last week I had I'm like, today's my, I'm gonna do 10,000 steps that day, and I'll drop them off. So it's one of those things that we need to really wrap our minds around. I think it was Gary Kelly, you probably have seen me write this several times, but so one of the biggest things I took away from family reunion was in a shifting market, we're going to have to do at least minimum of 25% more activity in order to maintain our current level of business, right? Because there are going to be changes. There are going to be less people buying and less homes available. So, and I love when he said, it's not a lead problem, it's a motivation. The leads are there. It's just up to you if you're gonna get them, right? So, that's all he said. So my first question for us to discuss is, how do you pick a farm? How did you pick your farm?
Well, I pick my farm in my community where I play tennis and I walk my dog. And usually it starts with your neighborhood and maybe one or two surrounding neighborhoods. And the biggest thing, Carrie is so right. So many agents try to throw a net over the city of Atlanta and have 25,000 people in their database. My database has 715 couples in it. And that's it. And we did 32 million out of it last year. So you don't have to have a massive database. It's easier to maintain it and manage it and love on it when it's a little bit smaller. Hence what she's saying, is stay close. Remember that movie, Hitch? Keep it right here.
Oh, yeah,
You know, that was an old movie, but it's really cute. So you're right, you're spot on that you can, it's walkability, you know, local restaurants. I have pens in 3 restaurants in Peachtree Corners that I supply every 2 or 3 weeks.
love that.
Thank you. So people take them home and steal them, and so I replenish them. It's expensive. Bob knows, we've talked about it, but, all in my community. It's all right here. So if you, Bob Dorn actually had a great idea to do a dog parade in your neighborhood and sponsor it. Do Christmas lights in your neighborhood, sponsor Halloween decorations and give a prize. And you've done 6 things and you're still in your community. And that's where you start becoming the expert, because when you are walking, they'll say, how's that house on the corner? Like, it's been sitting for 3 weeks. What's wrong with it? Oh, I've been in it. It's good. It's a great house. It's just got a little foundation problem, you know, whatever.
Right.
So to what you're saying, it's really important to stay close. Then on the flip side of that, if you're in Peachtree Corners and you have 74 other agents that live here,
Mhm.
you know, how do you compete with that, other agents in your neighborhood? And you may want to touch on that.
So I think that one of the things that I love is that you stay where you are face to face. It doesn't, one of the things I want to say, is it doesn't necessarily have to be your neighborhood if you don't want it to be. You can pick other neighborhoods. I want it to be in, the more face-to-face time you get, the more response you're gonna get, right? So face-to-face time is one of the most important things. But say you have a listing in a neighborhood that you really love, and maybe you got a referral from one more, or it was just that house is the price point you want to, there's many reasons that you would pick a farm, but say you want to specialize in this certain area, in this price point, and you get a listing in a neighborhood, you could start gold letters is a great launching pad for farming. And then when you do pick a farm, say it's your neighborhood. I love that Kim said she knew exactly how many homes were in the neighborhood. So you want to start doing your research. How many homes are there? How many sold on average in the last 2 years, right? So, you know, and this is one of those things you have to think about. What's the turnover rate for homes in the neighborhood? Is there 150 homes but only 1 sold? Is it 750 homes and 26 of them sold? You want to make sure that you're picking a neighborhood that has a good turnover rate. I think the average starting point is probably, it used to be 10%, I think 7% is fine. But you want to make sure that there is some sort of turnover even in the grant.
Yeah, yeah, and two things come to mind, when you're talking about that. One is, if you get a listing in the neighborhood and the seller will let you do an open house, here's a little marketing tip for you. I have a sign that says neighbors welcome, and I put it out in the yard during my open house, because the neighbors are always like, oh, I don't know, well, those are listings, right? So welcome the neighbors, ask your seller first, and it's okay. But let the neighbors come into your open house, because they're gonna talk to you and ask you a bunch of questions, and you know if they're there, they're probably interested. And then the second thing that made me think about what you were saying is, if you live in a townhome community or a condominium community, or you're farming one of those, or even an apartment community or future homeowners, right? Have some donuts in the lobby, or get to know the people in that complex, because as they start to move out of condos and apartments, they're gonna be great buyers for you. And so sliding things under their doors, if the HOA will let you, or hang on their door frames, give them a list.
Newsletter that they,
Yeah.
I used to start monthly newsletter.
That's perfect.
With
And
a flyer.
Give them a list store has great things to buy, and one of them is door hangers. They have great little door hangers that you card on, and you can hang them on doors. So that made me think of those two things when we were talking about that.
And that made me think about one other thing for open houses. I love the sign that says, if you love the marketing of this house, call me. So
Love it.
Call me for marketing your house.
Nice.
Because the neighbors are listening, right? And you do welcome the neighbors in. And
Nice.
then you say, if you love how this house is marketed, I can do the same thing.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And another spin off of that, this is a great thing for you guys. If you have a listing that did really well, you can send out a mailer that said, 47 showings, 14 offers in 48 hours. Want to meet them, and send that out and want to meet those people, because that means, want to meet them. So you can keep going even after the sale.
That's basically a golden letter, right?
I guess so. I've never heard that term, but
So a golden letter, I have 47 buyers for your house.
oh, nice.
Would
Okay.
you, or another example is,
And you like to meet them.
would you sell your house to one of my buyers? And that's it, that's the line, that's the
that's
Peters
good.
Company line.
Yeah.
That's it,
The
like,
golden
I have a
text.
golden letter that says, this one sold, blah, blah, blah. I have buyers available, but I love keeping it simple, like, would you sell your home to one of my buyers?
That's what your card should say.
Best, Carrie,
Yeah.
just simple, keep it simple.
And then if your neighborhood's not huge, it's even a better touch to handwrite that and send it,
Yeah,
put your card in there. I mean, handwritten notes are the bomb. When you get one, it makes you feel good. for
Yeah.
Sure.
so with 750, again, right now, but a good idea, and so if you have, I know in my neighborhood, we have, say, 620 homes of units. I'm not thinking right cards to each one of them, but I do handwrite cards to the 3 closest streets.
Nice. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
So, or if someone,
You can fingerprint it.
responds to like a Popeye, and then I handwritten it, but great.
I guess the 3 closest streets, I'll go ahead, Bob. It's because you walk them more and they've seen you and stuff, is that what it is? The more likely they've seen you
Yeah.
around,
Because I've had more face to face time with them.
yeah.
That's my niche, 136 houses that are close to me. I'm gonna market to all of them. But I can't door knock 700 houses either. I mean, I can try, my coach wants me to go back, but it can get difficult. So, who's been farming?
A little bit.
Do you know the statistics?
Working on it.
How many houses have you been farming?
188.
Love it.
Great number.
How many touches did it take you to get a call? I know.
I mean, you don't want it. no?
No, no, I think, because I was,
Yeah, I think it was the,
how many,
oh, I would guess,
15?
maybe 20.
Do you know that's average? Do you know that farming is a long game of activity, right?
Yes.
You're never, ever gonna get a call because you dropped by one time. In fact, if you have a plan to send out a postcard one time, however much money that costs, I will take it. You can just give it to me, because that's how much money you're wasting. If you're gonna send out something one time or two times, you're just throwing your money to the wind. So it's a long, typically they say it takes 12 to 18 months before you start getting momentum in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So Carrie, I just want to touch on this. So, James, what's the, sign guy's name?
Brian
Riggs?
Brian Wicks.
Brian?
Wicks.
Brian?
What's James
They're
on?
both, they're partners,
Yeah,
they're married.
Diane, Deborah.
Diane.
Anyway, they have this custom automated scripting machine. That's supposed to write, it's just, like, it's supposed to look real. Now, I'm about to order it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen one in front of me yet,
yeah.
but I can't write. I just can't do it.
Some
I'm
people
terrible
think
with
we're-
script. I'm just wondering how realistic this is, because if it looks like it's automated, it looks like it's automated.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, Lincoln and I saw it last week in his class and it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah, and you can actually write a card and they'll copy your actual handwriting, do that in the card. Tell them with that machine.
Yeah, you can tell.
I'm about to order it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's going to my 188.
I got interviewed, and I was like, can you please write your note card, like I couldn't use. You totally, you can't write a note card, we're not. Yeah,
Real quick, so for people that don't live in huge communities
Yeah.
or, or news area, I've heard mixed things. People say, farm the community you live in. Some agents are like, don't farm where you live, because then they think they have access to you carte blanche all the time. How do you go about choosing a good farming community or a good community to farm?
so that, I think that it's personal to everyone, because you're right, some people don't, like, I'm gonna go to the pool and people are gonna recognize me and say, how's the real estate market? To me, that's great, I'm like, oh, let me tell you all the ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you
Yeah.
Why are you asking about it? You think so? So, if you live in a small community and you don't want to farm that, I would say, if you get it, I would start with, if you get a listing somewhere.
Yeah.
You start with the, golden letter, or pick a neighborhood that you think has the turnover rate that you're looking for, 7 to 10%.
Yeah.
Look at how many homes that turns over in a year. You're not gonna get 100% of those listings. So what's the percentage, what's your goal? And if it's less than 5 a year, I probably wouldn't spend my money for it.
Is it,
I would try to pick a neighborhood that's still closer in proximity, because you want it to be easy, you want to keep it up, you want it somehow hit an easy button.
yeah,
I would go for a lower price range as well. Don't try to go for the big listings yet, especially if you're new, because you're gonna go up against agents who are established and have been doing it a long time. And so pick a neighborhood that is 300,000, 400,000, that other agents probably are not farming.
Yes.
And in addition to the smaller ones, or that don't have a high turnover, might be worth dropping a note just because other agents may not be farming it.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in Amberfield and everybody farms it every day. We get realtor letters.
Which is not shocking to me, because in Peachtree Station, no,
That's what I heard.
but I'm like, what?
So we,
And they
there's
probably turn over more often.
so
too.
many
Don't
options.
start.
But go in a price range, especially if you're new that you're comfortable in.
Yeah.
And work your way up, because you're gonna get referrals once you sell one. You see one and everybody
Yeah.
sees your name and
That's
then you
exactly.
do your golden letter, but I wouldn't go for big luxury yet.
No, I would go for quantity over.
if it's a smaller neighborhood, because like where I live is out kind of in the country. We're in a small neighborhood that was Smyrna just became annexed where it's gonna become Mapleton, would you just recommend just like legit door knocking and just saying, hey, I'm your neighbor and
100%.
we've been here a year, but I haven't really gotten out. I just want to introduce myself. That way, when they do get that letter, they're like, oh, that's Scott up the street.
How many houses do you have in your neighborhood?
There's 3 streets and then a cul-de-sac dead end, so there's probably 15, probably 40, 50 homes in this 3 street.
That's
Yeah.
great, that's a great.
Yeah,
spot.
over, and that's on one side, like in our area. I could go across the main street and then down, branch out to the other side of the main road and probably hit another neighborhood or 2. You
Well,
know,
that, in your neighborhood, that's a great neighborhood for Popeyes, like we
Yeah.
leave little pumpkins, October 1st with a card. We leave Easter egg stuff, during Easter, and as they start, you do that all year long, I mean, those pumpkins are $1 at one point. And you would spend $50 or $60, we covered it 100% recommended, do the Christmas lights contest. Be that guy in the neighborhood, that's a great opportunity.
I even thought about, like, once I get to a point financially of, doing like a neighborhood smoke out, where have one of those huge smokers, like
Yes.
have someone come and just like a neighborhood barbecue.
You've got a great opportunity because your neighborhood is so manageable, and we all know dogs, everybody loves dogs. Know who has the dogs, drop some dog treats by with your business cards, or leave dog treats at your vet with your business card, ask your vet if you can leave dog treats in the lobby, but collect dog blankets for dog shelters in your neighborhood with a note, and people will say, I leave it on my front porch. You get to go by and chat with them and pick up the dog blanket and take it to the shelter. We've done that together. So you've got a great opportunity.
And what I love about what you just said is you're doing something and coming from contribution.
Absolutely.
I think that the most important thing for you to do is to come from contribution.
Yes,
You've got to give and give and give before you can receive.
yes.
So when you hit people's heartstrings, or you're giving back to the neighborhood in certain events, like a smokeout,
Sponsoring.
you're giving them something before asking for anything. Right, I think that that's one of the most, one of the quickest ways to get in the mind share with your community.
And then you start to become the person they think, oh, he does things for dogs, which he does all the time. Or I have doggy poo stations in my neighborhood that I cleared through the HOA, and it says compliments of me. You grab the doggy poo bag, I see what you think about. So there's.
Thanks for that, by the way.
Thanks.
Your name's not on the bag.
No, but that's a really good idea.
I don't know about that.
I want to add one thing about farming neighborhood.
Yeah.
If you haven't listed and sold the house yet in any neighborhood, I want to tell you something. The value of that one listing and selling that home, do you realize how many times you can reach out to that neighborhood? Coming soon, just listed, just sold. It's, the door just opens that you can just
Get
get
one.
that one.
If you sign the picture.
And even if there's another agent who has a listing in the neighborhood you're farming, ask that agent if you can do their open house. Because then you're meeting the neighbors. Those are listings. And even, I'll go to a Coldwell Banker agent and ask them if I can do their open house.
So we can host other agents from other companies.
Technically, we're not supposed to.
Sorry. Yeah. But you get to meet the neighbors that way, because they all want to come in and see the house, they do.
So even on the Keller Williams, they're out of this market center.
I think it's.
I think that.
No, we're not. Yeah, there's supposed to be a market setting.
GLG could.
Because they're all different entities can come in.
You can.
Yeah.
And it's your neighbor?
But I don't think that.
Just
Be
careful.
Ruth will come in.
But even if you're the buyer's agent, let's say, and you just, help the buyer again, that's also like, I did that on one client, but I didn't do it on others. And I kind of feel like I wish I would have done more post-closing marketing, like postcards.
We do
and I feel-
stuff like, just put a great family in your neighborhood, you know,
Just
say
gold.
hello,
Yeah, just go.
something like that. Then you can, when you're the buyer's agent, you know, still mail it out, just
Yeah.
say, I represented the buyer, don't do anything that's not legal, I
Right.
mean, illegal, sorry.
Illegal.
You can't say they're a cute family.
Yeah,
You can send a just sold postcard if you put a buyer.
yeah.
You're not, that's not
Right.
You can't put anything about, well, I shouldn't say that, I don't.
Familiar.
Yeah, no familial status kind of
You
thing.
can put a great family in your, but saying.
It's a cute family, you can't.
Yeah.
What happens if you have a family that doesn't, can they not get that, you know?
I think you just do the just sold and you just say, we brought the buyer. Or I brought the buyer.
Yes, yeah. Keep it simple.
Why is it so easy?
You know, can I say something? You know that the sign has to, the listing agent has to come down within 10 days of selling it, but if you ask the buyer who bought it, they own the property now, so you can put a sign up saying just sold.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, your client will let you do that, that's so good, yes.
uh-huh. You ask the
Which
listing.
we should.
Even if you weren't the listing agent?
No, because your client now owns the property. After
you're
you
asking your
close,
client.
You ask your client if you can put a little sign at their name. That's a great idea.
Sorry, the name and number.
And you appreciate it if they would get their sign as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Then you go to place.
I love that.
And you have 7 to 10 days, 10 days after it's closed, you can have a sign in the yard.
But you can't have it for up to the month, like if the new owner wants,
No, you can only
for up to 10 days.
sign in the yard 7 days, or 7 to 10 days before it's listed, and 7 to 10 days after it's listed.
Okay,
And then you have to remove the sign.
thank you.
Or you can do.
I sold my neighbor across the street, about 6 months ago, and the agent who brought the buyer had this sign that he put up that said, welcome to the Tyndall family, and it had their like logo underneath it. So when the Tyndalls moved in a few days later, they got this great welcome sign, which was great, but then it also was marketing their business.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, and he probably didn't ask them, because that was a surprise to them when they got there, like, welcome.
I gave them a good review.
Right, yeah, I loved that idea. I love that.
Not everybody was like that side.
And they left it
I
on.
like
They left it on. Yeah, yeah, and the people that bought it, just left it up.
Well, that's the thing, they can because it's not a for sale sign. Yeah.
It just said, well,
Yeah.
so when you're marketing. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Plan.
You have to write it down.
I have a worksheet.
You have a worksheet?
Yes.
What
What
kind of
what it's.
plan do you have? Is it a yearly plan? Is it?
No, it's a what am I gonna do tomorrow plan.
Did you write it out in advance, or did you write it out?
Or two.
today?
Different areas.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm a planner.
I know, that's why we're so great together. because
Ends of the spectrum, yeah.
Oh, no, I'll hear that the Smiths are selling, somebody said that the Smiths are thinking about selling their house, boom, I'm writing a note, and it is in the mailbox by 10 a.m.
So what about like your farm?
Okay, my farming plan is, I walk the neighborhood, and see who I see, and that always goes really well. And, I have 5 things that I do every week. It's a little worksheet. 5 texts, these are to my neighbors. You have it too, Estrella. 5 texts, 5 calls,
Mhm.
5 handwritten notes, 5 social media posts about the neighborhood that week.
Thank you, cards.
And what's the other?
Thank you, cards.
Cards.
Thank you, cards.
My what?
Thank you, cards.
Oh, thank you, notes. Handwritten notes, I like these. And then, one of the things you guys should all do is join the HOA on Facebook of the neighborhood that you are farming, because you get a lot of information that way. So I'll look at that, but I mean, I'm so busy, I don't farm as much as I used to, but I do that worksheet every week. So if you did 5 handwritten notes, 5 phone calls, 5 texts, 5 social media posts, I'm missing something that's big. You'll have more business than you realize if you did that every day.
It was meeting someone.
Oh, 3 meetings a week, 3 face-to-face
Coffee,
meetings a
yeah.
week. That can be with another agent, that can be with a lender, that can be with a client. As long as your motivation, I mean, your momentum is going, like if we have lunch with shelter, I count that as a face-to-face meeting, even though they've asked me to lunch. And so you're working all week, but you have to fill out that sheet every day. There it is. You want to look at it? Sure.
So Kim, you said you do these 5s every day? Or every week?
I usually say every week, but in this market, it should be every day.
Bump it up. Well, now, those things are,
So who else has a, so, real or just said, let's get on a planner. I plan everything out, like 6 months.
Oh,
So,
10 business cards handed out every week.
oh, business card,
Yes.
yeah. So I treat my farm like a 36 touch. So everybody's taking the 36 touch. Yeah, so I've touched them 36 times, that's for clients who, and people have met. And so typically your farm is gonna be doing one. So I do a abbreviated version of the 36 touch, but it's gonna be 12 mailers
yeah.
a year. We're gonna have 2 events, 4 pop-bys, and anything else that I can think of in the middle. One thing that's going on right now that I love is Girl Scouts. I like Girl Scouts. I'm sorry I forgot them today. I'll get all of you some Girl Scouts. But the thing is that I send out a message on the Facebook page and I say, who's selling Girl Scout cookies? I'm your best buyer. And then I buy them and then I give them away. I can try to work out. But that's a great touch and I'm gonna buy a gift for someone anyway. You give me a referral.
Samoas. I bought 4 boxes from my rep's daughter. Dolphin Street. So back in like January, they're like, oh, and I saw it on his Facebook, he shared it from his wife's account. I clicked, bought 4 boxes and they got delivered to the golf shop and I'm big. I have eaten 2 of them.
I told my clients,
They're Samoas.
out to my clients as well as to the farm, okay, I'm your biggest buyer, because I'm gonna, if you give me a referral in the next however many months it'll could be black, you're gonna get a thank you note and a Starbucks gift card and a box.
And a box of cookies. I bought 3 boxes in California.
What was it?
Are you all doing for your farm? And how to do it? Because we're moving towards a shift, right? So we need to buckle down on our expenses. So what are some great ways to have events, but not spend a ton of money?
I don't think it's that.
Clothing drives, coat drives, all stuff like that, that's
Perfect, that's a
Pretty
great
much
idea.
Yeah, so one of the events that I love to do is I do block parties, but I don't bring the food. I bring a food, I bring a dish. But I think this is great, and I got this from a huge top mega agent, who has a massive farm, and she does not spend a lot of money. But she brings the paper plates, the plastic cups, the utensils. And she gets shout outs on the Facebook groups and all of these different things saying, oh, we're having our neighborhood block party. Thanks, Gary Foster, for bringing all the extra. And, and here's the sign up sheet for the food. And then you manage the sign up sheet, right? So when you have the sign up from the neighbors, you get their name, their address, their phone number, and their email address. You get it there.
Ah, bueno.
Say a word about religion. Your companion.
Yo soy como.
It's just the thing space time. It's how it's. I love the new, this. one thing that's- It's sometimes having conversations and get awkward. I need to know it, and some people are, I don't know, but I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, what do we say next? You know, so I do the floors. How's your family? Hi, kids. How's school? Here's my experience with that. Like, get the conversation going. And then if they don't know that you're in real estate, you're probably gonna go, how much your work going? Real estate, yeah. It's ever moving. And blah, blah, blah.
When you're doing those, do you ever wear any of like your apparel, cutaways apparel or a hat or anything fun that maybe like, what, you know, or a slogan that gets them talking?
And I see, I just got his name tag on. Your name tag is worth one deal a year. It will get you one deal a year guaranteed. Sorry.
I did buy some cute shirts. They like, mom, something, and then realtor. Got some that, I did get a few, but I think for those neighborhood events, typically, I don't.
You don't wear it full of sugar and spice and real estate advice.
You know, I thought one of them had to be like the sequin, PW. No. Far from my dog.
And
Oh, my mom's so for that.
Neighborhood, y'all, know who has dogs, know who has babies.
Yeah.
Like now about your neighborhood, they have two dogs named Coda and Murphy. And you know, when you see them, you can say, hey Murphy, hey Coda, like, and then they think, oh, he or she, they know me. And you map out the neighborhood you're farming, know who their kids are, know who their dogs are, know that their in-laws live in the basement. You know, start to kind of figure out, there's a great app called Land Glide. You guys should all buy it. It's $99 a year. Land Glide, it has a dot. So when you hit Land Glide, it sees where you are. And if you're driving down the street, guess what? It gives you the name of every homeowner as you're going. You can put the address in and look them up. It has a 7-day trial period, and then I think it's still $99 a year.
I was gonna bring today what I. Thinking down the. Their names in their box. Like, if I talk to them, like highlight it. And like they got this, so when I stop, I know where to pick that up.
Do you still use, I was about to ask you.
When we were in Destin on a girls' trip on a pontoon boat, there was this massive house on this. Oh, yes, we did. A massive house, and it was on a point, and my girlfriends, after several cocktails, were like, I wonder who lives there, and I was like, well, I can tell you. Now, you don't think they were impressed, they all better be my clients, because they're my high school friends, but we hit them up, and it's like, oh, so we got the name, we Googled it, of course, and I was like, oh, y'all, he's a gynecologist, and they're like, oh. Yeah, Levi is anywhere in the world, so.
Is there any way in the FMLS or something like that, that you can go and get the names of the animals?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
realist.
So you just remind.
Yeah.
In the listing, there's the tax ID number is in blue, and it's a link. You click on the tax ID number in the listing, it'll pull up the whole.
But I think I have to say every address.
No.
Yeah, there's something like more like.
Mine.
Or I use, so what Kim's saying is that little link goes to the name of that person in the listing, but you can go to, in FMLS,
It goes to the,
you can go to real list and you can do a map search.
yeah.
And then
And you can even draw a circle, I think.
Any shape you want.
name, address, and tax ID number. It will also tell you what they bought the house. for,
Yes.
How much they owe on it, what their equity is, how much they are to sell in the future. Remind them. of things.
Yeah.
Have the address, I'll see what you do that or work. Yeah.
So you can even say ARPR too. And ARPR too.
Yeah,
Got all that.
it's a public record. So
Yeah, all that stuff is public record.
It's so, And then I zero in, and then I found out, because
I'm surprised these things go right now. It's not, you know, one by one.
we are,
It's annoying.
yes.
I mean,
So, what, so I think that command is like the next greatest thing that's been invented. When command came out, everybody thought it stunk. I thought it was amazing, because I canceled 3 subscriptions like that day. And it saved me a ton of money. So I think command is a great tool, technology to use for farming. I tag everybody. You know, the 201 club that we're talking about right now, you have 201 contacts. You should average about it at 201, I should say at 201, because we all want a ton of contacts.
Right.
And it will only multiply.
That's what I, when I went to download a place from my Twitter.
Yeah.
On your phones, just imagine that.
mhm.
I was a realist. I pulled out all of the names in my neighborhood. I downloaded it into a CSV file. I deleted all the information I didn't want to remember, added a tag in there, through the command, automatically a 600 employee new contact in Canadian. And then when I go through and I talk to somebody, because we need to document that, so we know how many times we have to, if they have to raise their hand, then you go in there and you add your notes. I talked to Betty Sue yesterday. Her dog's name is Ralph. Nice. And they're both at Simpson Elementary School, one's in the big one's in 5th grade, and they sell Girl Scout cookies. So I think that's a perfect example of using technology.
Yeah.
I think you just mentioned one. What is the other forms of technology that the community is understanding farming? Or just
We're on real issue. You're right.
Sí, pero pensé que era-
We could pull 5,000 names apart.
I agree. I agree.
That's a lot of- Sure. If that was that list, you're on the list.
Is there any other technology that you're using in your farm?
I think,
What other technologies are you using? Technologies. Are you using Canva, maybe? Are you using Canva? We all know that I'm obsessed with Canva.
There's great, Instagram, I mean,
No,
social media, Instagram, videos, if you go to a great house and you videotape it, say, just let them know, they can call me, it's so exciting, I mean, you can do that,
Social media technology.
Yeah. Yes.
because I don't know how to log into command.
Oh, the other day, because now I can send emails through.
Very nice.
So y'all can phone you on this, maybe total.
I love MailChimp, if y'all don't
So
know it.
did you know that you could go and you can design, then you go to get the HTML number, and then you go to command and you drop it in their email server,
Okay,
and you don't have
okay,
anything.
okay.
So it's
That's
not
pretty
like MailChimp or in Constant Contact, I think I was paying like $40 a month for Constant Contact to send out like, I don't know, 1,000 emails a month, right? Yeah. But it kind of all depends on how many contacts you have and you're paying.
Yeah, you pay by the month, or by the ring.
Well, he showed me how I could go to.
You're
thinking of HTML swords and pasting it in the.
Yeah.
And you one contact yourself.
Wow.
And then you take it, dump it into command sends it out for you.
Yeah.
Right. It looks exactly like it does in MailChimp.
Yeah.
But you're not paying for this.
You guys could do a newsletter to your neighborhood, you know, what's happening around town, if you live in Smyrna. You know, we're having the St. Patrick's Day, something this week, and, you know, do a monthly newsletter to your neighborhood, and that's another way. You can mail it or email it, that you can touch your people pretty softly, but they get it, they see you every month, sending out that newsletter. And so that's another option. That's what Carrie's talking about. You can drop it from MailChimp to command, but I don't know how to log into command, so I have to stay in MailChimp for a minute.
But I'm learning new things every day about beer. I'm so excited about it.
That's good. That's really good.
Okay, let's see. What is the best touch? What is the one, or not one, but what do you think is the touch that you get the most response from when you're farming?
My Easter egg hunt.
Ooh.
Yeah, they come, because it's a low cost thing for me. Buy 1,000 eggs, a little bit of candy or stuff on it, and invite everybody to the Easter egg hunt. They come, and I love it, and I just talk to neighbors, and we have the hunt, and the Easter bunny's there. I got an Easter bunny costume on Amazon. I'm doing it in Riverfield this year, in Riverfield this year, but we did it at, Sisseton last year. But it's fun and it's cheap, and then we do pumpkins in October.
You do something patch for everybody to it?
No, but that's a really great idea. No, we do little pumpkins with a card. Yeah, because you can get that over to Walmart and get it for $1. Drop them off. My database has gotten too big now to do that. Right. When I had 60 homes, I put a little pumpkin on their stoop every year with a nice note from me.
And how do they get them now?
I don't do them anymore.
Oh.
I just send a bulk card now. Yeah, today, but we do send a Christmas card, a fall card, a happy spring card. You know, I'm trying to get these people to remember me every month.
Do you do, does anybody go to pie giveaway? Do you do pie giveaway?
No, but I know a lot of agents who do that. Yeah, pies are great. People come
When
by.
you do the Easter egg hunt, you do 1,000 eggs, you start that in January.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
lot
about-
of eggs. Do
actually,
you, let me ask you this, and also, sorry to interrupt you. Do you get some of the parents together to help paint all
I
those?
hire high school girls.
Oh,
Plastic,
oh,
plastic.
Oh, really?
And all of a sudden, I got that as a client, because I've hired their child to help me. I hire high school girls to work the Easter egg
Gotcha.
hunt with me.
And wear the costume.
My best friend was an Easter bunny, and she's, 6'7". What? She's terrified.
Huh?
It's 6'7".
No,
Holy moly.
one.
Seven.
No. One. We're like one.
My son's 6'5".
Huh? Leslie. But I have a little convertible bug, and so we went on a little. And I blow the Easter bunny in into a convertible bug. I drive the Easter bunny through the neighborhood too, and now it's on the side of the car, you know, try everything. That's genius.
Is your logo on the eggs each one?
No,
No.
but we have a great, so we have golden eggs. And everybody gets a tray. You can pull it and you go to the prize table and pick out stuff, and yes, there are teddy bears, little teddy bears and stuff.
How do you market your egg hunt? I mean, how do you invite?
I put it in my newsletter and, well, if, I do larger than my neighborhood. I do my plant base, but if you're doing a neighborhood, you would have an invitation. I did Evite and invited them to it. I did a mailer. I talk about it. We put signs out, Easter egg hunt, you know, KS18 Easter egg hunt on Sunday. All the things just that get you in the neighborhood.
And would you say that has grown over the years? Wouldn't you say that, I think that.
It's taken forever though.
But
It's taken.
one of the things that I took away from the farming, not farming, but the family reunion class that for farming to your farm is pick event and stick with
Be
them.
consistent.
Don't change your events each year, because every year there's a momentum.
And they know.
There's more momentum, and people are gonna hear about it and they're gonna work on.
If we have a single fall carnival, and I've had the varsity truck there for the last 10 years.
Wow.
And
Oh.
I feed the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it's my biggest, most expensive, but I get probably 3 or 4 listings off of it, and it pays for itself.
And they probably look forward to it every
Thank
year.
you.
Yeah.
Sure, they know about it.
Right.
And then another thing we did, which was an epic fail, but it's funny. My assistant and I decided we're gonna give out Krispy Kreme donuts at the entrance to the neighborhoods, Riverfield, Emerald, Linfield. The little half dozen with this cute card, have a great day. As they go to work, we got up at 5, went and got all 700 dozen donuts, and we're standing out there to give them to people as they drove out. Note to self, you need signage. They all thought the poor real estate agent was out there selling. So they all kept going by, going, no, I'm good, I'm good. I'm like, no, and they kept saying, we're good, we're not interested.
She's not doing well.
I think 600 dozen to Simpson, Pinckneyville, or North. Yeah, you just have to make sure you have signage, you know, have a bright sunshiny day from whoever, and then you're handing out, and they'll stop and you just hand them out the window, the little Krispy Kreme donuts or anything in the morning, a cute cookie, with your logo on it, those are kind of expensive though, but, catch them on the way out the door to work. Yeah. You were to do that with 60 houses.
I was gonna say, I was talking about like doing something for the neighborhood. In the summer, I actually rented an ice cream truck. Kids, you know, I'm like, hey, and that's all the neighbors. I'm like, listen, I'm just doing a little something for the neighbors, kids. Oh my God, thank you, like, that's great. You know, I rented a truck. It wasn't crazy expensive, but it was a nice touch.
And you should do it every year.
And I will, and I think it was a hit, so.
Yes, good for you. Well done.
I heard this story, I told y'all I did this back in day one meeting. I love this. Did everybody listen to the vision speech? Did everybody, and y'all saw that Molly lecture?
So good.
Did you remember the story that she was telling about how she wanted to be, she needed a place to live, right? She didn't have anywhere to live. She was moving to the city. And so she, you heard that the tennis pro got a reduced rent for teaching tennis every week, and then so she went out and she worked. What I took away from that was she farmed that neighborhood, right? She went to the pizza place and was like, hey, do you get any business from this neighborhood? And they were like, no, not really. She's like, would you be willing to donate 20 pizzas once a month on a Tuesday? And then she went to Wilson and said, would you be willing to donate some equipment? And what I saw was she was taking that business and supporting that business by getting something for free. I don't know if y'all heard me say that a couple times today. Like, it's just interesting. How can we be as effective and still be on a budget? So she went and got these pieces for free, got coupons for the play. And then she ended up, you know, she did tennis on Tuesday. So I thought it was great. If you play tennis, if you got someone to sponsor something, it doesn't have to be you paying for it. Just like we have shelter that was kind enough to sponsor pizza today for us. If you got someone else to sponsor it, you bring it in, you're talking it up, handing out coupons and supporting your community. So the same thing, like if you give something to your neighborhood,
Tennis, swim meets, you know, you could get that same little bakery to take treats to a tennis match with your name. Or that's a great idea, and they always want to, restaurants and places always want to contribute.
so you're giving something to your neighbor. You're getting recognition for it.
Love it.
And support it. I thought it was awesome. I took a lot away from Molly that day.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Kim, where do you do your Easter egg? And it's not on Easter, right? You do it-
Correct.
Okay.
Last year we rented Simpsonwood Field, this is the field at Simpsonwood, it's $50. And I actually brought a petting zoo, which was $600, which is not that bad.
No.
And, the petting zoo was the biggest expense other than the eggs. I think the whole Easter egg hunt cost me $1,800 and 300. So I rented some wood, but this year I'm doing it at Riverfield because I'm a member and I use that deal.
Yeah.
And it's not, I do it the Sunday before Easter.
I used to do a big Easter egg hunt too when I was on a team back in the day, and we did, it's very popular, it was Ashford Park.
Yes.
So we had signs around the neighborhood for at least 2 weeks beforehand.
Yeah.
We had the same thing, 1,000 eggs, I think 20 golden eggs. All those had giveaway baskets that we got at Costco.
So fun.
And then there's a DJ that every so often would, you know, they would play music, and then every so often they'd be like, thanks for the real estate team for sponsoring this event today. And then they would do shout outs for all kinds of things and like announce the winners and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cute. And you could do a July 4th parade for the kids. Enter your kids' bike, wagon, whatever, for July 4th parade, sponsored by you, and you have refreshments at the end of the parade, popsicles, ice cream trucks, whatever.
So many ideas that you could.
There's a lot. You just have to think about it, or Google it. Google marketing ideas for my neighborhood.
Right.
Have you guys ever Googled yourself? You should do that too. Yeah, I know.
Okay, so my next question was event. I think we've gone over a bunch of the event ideas.
Yeah.
Technology. That's a great question. How do you handle the leads that come in from your farm?
That is a great
Hey,
question.
Cam, I saw about your thing.
If they text or email or whatever, I call, the minute I see it, I drop what I'm doing if I can and call them. I call it. I try not to text back unless they're texting me, then that tells me they want to be texted that. But with these text messages on this worksheet that I gave you guys, I will text something that says, hey, it's Kim, I'm out here working hard in the neighborhood. Just if you know of anybody buying or selling a home, please pass my name along. I will work hard for your referrals. And I will copy and paste that text constantly through my neighborhood, everybody in it. But I call them right away. You need me to come see you. I can come this afternoon. You know, that's where we're probably different because you may have a plan, you may have your day planned, and you may go 3 days from now. I'm sitting on their front doorstep with brownies, you know, in a minute, and they go, oh, like, gosh, you've already here. But it's all in what you're comfortable doing. Like, I'm not comfortable making cold calls. Never made a cold call in my life. But if you can bang out 100 calls a day, good for you because you're gonna get a ton of business. But if you do this, this is my passive way to get leads. This is my lead sheet. And they come in the same way. You're gonna get as many leads either way, whatever's comfortable for you to get your leads. So in answer to your question, they're gonna hear from me within 5 minutes of me seeing whatever they've done. And I think that's important because they've made the decision, they jumped off the cliff, and you wanna hit them first. I had a listing appointment and she's interviewing 3 agents and I'm the middle one. I didn't wanna be the middle one. I wanted to be first or last. So I had to really get in there. So she's already gotten a thank you note. I met with her Friday. I've already put a note in her mailbox thanking her for the listing and that I would work really hard for her. You have to be humble and say, I'll work hard for you. I mean, don't you agree? I mean,
I think that that was the biggest nugget that we need to take away. I mean, we have tons of ideas, but I think that that to me just hit me like straight in the soul.
right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
because you're up against other agents and you are the second one in line.
yes.
How valuable is it to be the first one at the door?
Right, very. And another thing too, what people will say is when you go into a listing appointment, don't be afraid to say, I want this listing. I mean, I can show you numbers, I can show you business. There's a lot of coaches out there that say, act like you're super busy. Well, do y'all remember the movie Jerry Maguire where all he had was Cuba Gooding Jr.? I'll tell you a funny story and then I'm giving you your class back.
Yeah.
I went up against Nancy Miner on a listing and she knows this 12 years ago and she had 10 listings and I had none. It was my very first listing. And so I went in there and I said, I want this so bad. And they said, well, we're talking to Nancy. I said, well, I love Nancy, but guess what? I don't have any listings. So guess how much of my time you're gonna get?
Love it.
And they said, 100%. And I said, so you're all I've got. And they gave me the listing and it went on from there. So don't be afraid to say you're new. Don't be afraid to, we can all write contracts, right? I mean, if you haven't sold anything yet, you can say, I can write an offer. I can accept an offer, but you're all I've got right now. So believe me, I will lay awake at that and lay awake at night worrying about your house. And I hope you sleep well.
Yeah. Let me work.
But you do want to
I
get
love
in there right away.
So I do the same sort of thing. So if you call me, you get a Foster, probably call it team, you get a Foster Home Team mug.
Love it.
And it's probably got some sort of treats in there because I like chocolate with a thank you note. And I
Yes.
drop that off. That's for any lead, any referral. If it's a listing, you get a pre-listing packet, which is just a toned down version of the listing. But I think that's so valuable that,
They're shocked if you call them right back, usually, and
Yeah.
you wanna be that person that called them right back, can I see you this afternoon? I mean, if I've got a hair appointment, it's getting moved, because I'm going today, to beat out any other
I don't
agent.
have your equipment, but I'm looking at
We are different, like, I wish I could plan like a spreadsheet person does, but I don't. So you're gonna get a different feel from either of us, and you have to do what's comfortable for you.
Right.
You don't have to follow somebody else's plan because they told you that's the only way you're gonna win business. I mean, you're very outgoing. You don't have time to sit around and do spreadsheets. You should be out in front of people because you're so outgoing. But if you're not as comfortable being social, then that's where you send people numbers of the neighborhood where all the souls have, or that's where you send people a note that says, I really want your business. If you're not comfortable, like me, making a cold call or knocking on doors.
That's my favorite thing about real estate is that there's so many different personalities and everyone can do it, and everyone can win.
And they're not always gonna know you better than somebody else, because you're not a fit.
Yeah, and you can be completely original, like our Keller Williams, I love one of the reasons I love being here is because they highly encourage R&D. Because that's basically what we're doing today. We're ripping off and duplicating off of our ideas. But that doesn't mean they're all gonna be the same. They're gonna be unique in your own way.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm gonna do it different than you, but I'm still gonna steal your idea. I'm just gonna transfer it to what I would do.
Like, I mean, here's another one. Who has the gumption to do this? I went in Ingles and handed out 10 business cards and said, I'm in a contest. I have 3 minutes to give out 10 business cards. Can I please give you
Love
one?
contest.
And
They work
there's no contest in my mind,
Right.
with myself.
Same with
And but I had my sheet and get out 10 business cards that day. And so that's how I did it. I handed it to 10 people shopping at the grocery store. And guess what? I got a call. They loved it and got a listing from it. You never know where your business is gonna come from.
All right, Kim, how do you not know everyone walking through Ingles already?
Well,
Well,
I
I feel
tried
like
to
I
find-
can't even go in there.
I tried to find people that I knew, like, cheap.
It's three-quarters of the
Yeah.
anywhere.
So I did it in the company's outfit at the forum, I handed out 200 business cards. I did it. But my question is, when you go on a listing appointment, do you have that contract all written up, ready to go? Then you
You probably do, I do not.
I do not.
Okay.
don't have that paper version ready to go?
Well,
Same person that's gonna come with the contact is probably somebody that cold call. I want you to love me and somehow, like, in the conversation, I know that when I leave there that day, I'm so happy for really working for each other. When I get home, I'm gonna send you a listing agreement. Put one in here so you can read over it in person. But I'm gonna send it to you electronically signed along with some disclosures for you to start.
So it's a blank version.
Yeah, do the same thing with buyers. I did a buyer's consultation, I print out a purchase and sale agreement, exhibit, and the buyer's brokerage agreement, and I say, this is, when we go to write an offer, it's gonna be really quick, and I don't want you to feel uncomfortable about it, so I'm giving this to you in advance. If you have any questions, let's answer them before that time. So go home tonight, read over these, and let me know if I can answer any questions.
Do you have them ever sign a client agreement, you know,
the buyer,
Exclusive.
the buyer brokerage agreement.
No, it's working with me as a client. You're working with me as a client form. It's really a BS form.
Here's what you can expect from me, and this is my expectations of
It
you.
just
I would-
agrees that we're working together.
No, I don't make them sign anything on the first initial listing appointment.
Ken, this is for you, just to go back to what you were saying about your enthusiasm of, letting someone know, hey, you're all I've got right now. I don't have other clients that are gonna keep me preoccupied and busy. But
But you're gonna say, but 100%, remember that percentage. you've got
Right.
100% of me. That's a
Right.
big deal, that 100%.
Understood, and I guess where I'm going with this is Mike has mentioned this quite a bit, is, and other people in sales in my lifetime is never give off the impression that you're desperate, because desperation looks like a killer,
I'm not
and so
desperate. I mean, that doesn't come across. as
I just want to make sure that walking that fine line, so you're not, you're saying, hey, you got 100% of me,
Right.
but you're also not showing you're desperate
It's
for the
all
business.
the delivery, okay? It's all in how you deliver it. But when they called you, they already know you're new. They already know you may or may not have any listings.
Or you just don't have anything going on at that time.
Correct. And so it is okay to say, right now, I don't have any listings. And I told them I'm new, but I can do the paperwork. You don't have to be brilliant to do the paperwork, but you better believe tomorrow, if you give me this listing, I'm gonna be working on your listing 100%. There's gonna be signs all over Peachtree Corners. My social media is blowing up, and I may have a drone flying over. I mean, wouldn't that make you wanna listen to me if I got that excited about it? So it's all in your delivery, and you have to convince them that you're not desperate. And that's what you'll do. Yeah.
My new question is, now that you've looked over everything that I have planned to do for your listing, is there anything in here I haven't covered that you would like to have done?
That's where we're different.
So like,
That's Miss Spreadsheet right there.
well, I was like, so. Like Leslie said at the last stats presentation, that's where I got it from, is that she said she went in, she just lost this $1 million listing that she sold in the house. And she went up against another agent, and that agent did drone photography, and she didn't mention it. And so
Even though she could do it.
Is there anything that you don't see that you've like done?
I love that.
And then if they say, well, I want just sold, or I want, well, absolutely, I have every resource for that.
I love that. And you spin that, guys, you say, I'm gonna do everything that the other agents are doing, because you still have to make yourself different.
Yeah.
And that's when I tell a seller all the time, I'm gonna lay in bed awake, worried about your house tonight. You don't have to worry, sleep well, but I will be worried about your house until it sells. And that gives them that feeling of, okay, she's got this. I don't care what she's doing, as in a way.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get
You're taking
planners who want to see, everything you're doing, and that's where I don't take any of that in. I tell them, but that's why we're different. You see, we don't get the same sellers.
Right.
And it works. I mean, you're gonna get the sellers who fit your personality. And if you lose one, if I didn't go in with a great plan, like what she's talking about, I've lost those before. But we don't jive, so they probably would have been worried about me the whole time anyway.
Or we could just.
Well, we wouldn't. But do you see what I'm
Right,
saying? Like,
right.
there is no pigeonhole of what a listing appointment looks like. There's no pigeonhole of what your listing package should look like. It needs to fit you. And if you didn't get that listing, that's because that seller was not aligned with you. And it's okay. You go get the one who is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Mike, did you have a question?
Yeah, just because you mentioned my name, so I feel like that was an opportunity for me to talk. So, and I already said this, is not a practice, and tell you, just come from expertise. First year in the business, and not only 3 years in sales, I was #1 listing agent in every office I was in. How that happens is something she just said. So when you say desperation, what I would say differently is a big agent that comes in there, they take 100 listings a month. But yet they have a 50% sell rate, right? So what if you're one of the 50% that did not sell? How would that make you feel? You're all like that. Because I would use that against Mark Spain or any other huge team. I would have to use that. So it's not desperation. It's really letting so, and I thought what you said is you have to align with them. I did have to come in here because I did have this conversation. This is interesting. So let me ask you about, you don't do cold calling.
Oh, are you looking at me?
So Kim Adair, did I call you to join the?
Yes.
I did.
No,
You called me.
you're right.
You cold called me.
That's a Coco.
Did I cold call you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
nice
said
to
meet me in the
email.
parking lot.
I did. I met him in my mother's car. I don't know why that day in the pouring down rain. I was at Coldwell Banker and I didn't want him to know I was leaving. And I made him come out to my car in the pouring down rain, like, come out here. I can't.
It was 5 years or 6, 8 years ago. It worked.
8 years ago.
It
Somebody
worked.
might see me.
You're doing about 6 million then. And what'd you do this year?
My team did 35, I think, and I did 29. But
It worked.
Uh-huh.
Your team did 35, but you did 29 of it
Okay.
yourself.
I did.
What did it come
Right here, this is your golden nugget. I'm telling
from?
you.
How simple it was.
This is simplicity at its finest, and if you guys will do the work, you will get business. Here's the thing, right now, today, if you wrote an offer today, you're 40 days away from a paycheck. Do we all agree?
Yeah.
Don't you think you better get busy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Oh, yeah.
40 days away from a paycheck right now, but this will speed it up. If you guys do this, you might get a cash offer and then you close in 10.
I think you just answered my last one.
Oh, sorry, it's not.
If, as we're going through this shift, and you've mentioned it many times, is budget content, what's the one thing that you would never remove from your farming, marketing program?
Handwritten notes.
Or like this?
Well, I use that every week, yeah.
So the one thing you never get rid of is handwritten notes.
Correct. And that sheet y'all have, when I get in a slump and I think, I don't have any business, I pull this out, and I've been doing this 12 years. And I pull out this very worksheet and start working on it. And all of a sudden, the phone calls start coming in. So it would be that sheet or handwritten notes.
That's my timer.
So
For those, you have her logo on there, or is it just from you?
when I first started, I had that probably on some, like 5 note cards from Mickey, and I think she would probably give you those. You go ahead.
Oh, before everybody leaves, I want to get a picture,
Aw.
because I really appreciate y'all coming in. This is the biggest class that we've got. For y'all, and I'm so appreciative. You can finish.
I don't have on the note cards. I get them printed with my name on
I
them.
can see that. I love
Yeah.
that. I mean, they're just cute. And then I get the square one.
And what's so cute? Yeah.
I have one.
So not, so
Your name.
just your-
Yeah, and my, I have a website and a phone number, so.
so you do put your website.
Yes, and I think, now, if Ruth is still on here, I think if you are marketing yourself, you don't have to have
That's exactly right.
the office number and all that information, only if you're marketing a house. So my note cards do not have like the office number and all that on there. Yeah,
Okay, say it.
Bosh.
Yeah, but you tell the class your famous line about if you don't work 40 hours a week.
I love that line.
Go ahead.
So you guys, if you want to make a 40-hour-a-week salary, guess what? You have to work 40 hours a week. So you guys have got a plan, my planners. If that is 6 a.m. where you're writing notes and then you go take kids to school at 8 and then you come back, you make that work in your schedule, but you're not gonna get paid a 40-hour-a-week salary working 20 hours a week. Nobody does that. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's like, I work 80 hours a week probably. I mean, I really do, but I love it. And my kids are gone and all that. I have a great dog, but you've got to put in the hours. And when you fill out that spreadsheet, do it again. That's a week. If you do that in a day, do it the next day. And you got to put in the work. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Can I ask one more question? For the spreadsheet that you do, or the sheet you do, Kim, do you have a systematic, do you do the DTD2, or do you have some systematic way of the?
That would do that.
So evidently no. So my point is not necessarily that, but that's a systematic way of getting people in your database. Do you have a systematic way of doing that? Like you have note cards you move from the front to the back, you have,
Yeah, in all days.
You use what?
she doesn't have a CRM.
You use Excel, and I'm not.
No, I don't. No, in my case, I don't know the.
Can you use Tom?
Huh?
You're using something Tom.
No, but I'm I'm on feels. So I will tell you guys, and I probably shouldn't, but the first of every month, I get a newsletter from 4 different agents from Keller Williams that are all the same newsletter.
Yeah.
I don't want that out there for me because we're gonna cross up somewhere. So I do my own newsletter, I do my own people, here's another thing.
But if you don't have one.
It's a good place to start.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
And then build on it to make your own.
Correct. And another thing that I do is so archaic. But I have a box of note cards and I have, Carrie and her number, and I have all these note cards, my database in it, and it sits in my car. And at a red light, I'll text Carrie and say, hey, I'm out here working hard. If you know anybody buying or selling a house, please pass my name along. I would work hard for your referrals. That's my thing. Just copy, paste, send it to Carrie at the neck, and I put Carrie in the back of the box.
That was my question. So you do have a systematic
Yes,
plan
yes.
of some sort. Yes, you're not taking the same people every week.
Well, put them in the back, because I try to do that monthly, but, or I hope your kids are good, or I hope Jamie won, whatever, you know, you can't personalize that, but copy and pasting those texts, and I know there are systems that sends everybody in your phone a text, and I get a text every Valentine's Day from the same guy, and I know he
Yes,
sends it to everybody.
I have a friend that does that too.
And I get that a lot, and I think, okay, dude, just text the people. I mean, so that way, in my notebook, note card box, everybody's gotten a very personal text from me. So, I don't know, if
And
that's,
29 million in sales.
Yeah, exactly.
Box in a text.
Hey, whatever works.
And this-
Whatever works.
I'm blown away.
you're amazing.
Picture time?
Thank you, girls.
Picture it, and I'll see. What do you think you're going?
Is that already good? Okay.
You guys, whatever your system is, you just have to do the work.
Yeah.
That, it's, that's what it is. It's like a bid, like. Real quick. Oh, Mama, there's real quick. Okay, let me just show you. So let's say we have Strella and we have him, all in these street corners, and these are your people. That is the only amount of people that we know together.
Sure.
So you do yours, you're gonna, even if you have other agents in your area, you're still gonna grab all this out here. But you have to put in the work.
I love it, good night. You all want to stay where you are and we'll.
Like right here.
Oh, that's a good idea. We should-
So y'all sit or awesome. So many things. Good deal. Worry about it. People love that.
Why is it? Be two letters. Like, A-W or.
Yeah, you got it, you got it, you got it. Oops, oh, everybody look here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
That looks good. Congratulations. Got my attention. No, totally got my attention.
Okay.
Yep. I love it.
You know,
Yeah.